What is up, my friends? How are we? The day that we knew was coming has finally arrived. Trent has delivered his statement to say that he will be departing Liverpool Football Club at the end of the season. Tonight, we just wanted to give a bit of a fan forum for you guys to have your say. Get it off your chest. All that we ask is that you please don't use any hateful comments with regard to um, ethnicity or harassment or threatening behaviour. If you want to get stuff off your chest, have at it. But as always, we want to stay in the realms of the sensible on here. So tonight, everybody will have a chance to have their say. And we're going to start off actually with a super chat that I noticed from Shane just before we were going live. And I want to bring it up. Shane, I think, has summarised a lot of it well. Shane said, "Time to get this off my chest. It's not about him leaving, it's about how, and it's also the empty words like, I won't be satisfied until I'm captain of Liverpool, and this is my team, my city. Don't want him anywhere near LFC, Snake." And I think that Shane's comment there is one that's going to be echoed by many people in the chat tonight. It isn't about the blame game. It's about how you feel. And tonight I'm going to try my best to just be a conduit between what's been reported, how other fans have spoken about it, my own take on it, of course. But I want to know how you guys are feeling. So I want to start off with something from Jamie Carragher. And, you know, I've been up and down with Cara over the years on the stream. Sometimes I agree with what he says. Sometimes I disagree with what he said. But on this one, folks, I wholeheartedly agree. He said Liverpool fans are being told that the reaction to Trent Alexander-Arnold leaving is emotional more than sensible. My response to that is, who's really the naive, deluded one when analysing how fans feel about such transfers? Would Manchester United have been happy to see Ryan Giggs or Paul Scholes leave in their prime for Real Madrid? Would Chelsea have wished John Terry all the best had he followed Jose Mourinho to Spain for nothing? How would Arsenal fans feel if Saka said he wants to fulfill a lifetime ambition to wear the shirt in the Bernabeu? Those lads would never do that. It's the predictable response. But isn't that the point? Players are loved even more than they genuinely mean it when they say that they do not want to play for anybody else. If that image of the homegrown talent living the dream is an illusion, people feel let down. And I think Kara's spot on. All I've tried to do throughout this whole situation is say to everybody, your feelings are your feelings, and however you feel about it, I've no right to tell you you're right or you're wrong. We can all only give our own unique take on these things. Will has said, we have to realise that Trent has been missing since Jurgen left, but letting his contract run out contradicts all that he has to say to now. For me, it's good riddance to an arrogant player. And thank you, Will, for sharing your thoughts as well. So I was reading lots of articles about this today. As you would imagine, I've read The Echo, I've read The Athletic, I've read some other posts on social media from fan accounts and whatnot. And one thing that has wound me up is that everything seems to have been just written as if Trent and his camp have sat down with The Athletic and told them exactly what they want written. Everything was about how it makes Trent feel. That Trent finds it very difficult to be compared to Michael Owen and Steve McManaman. And I want to just talk about that particular thing at first, because for me, what Trent has done is worse. And I'm going to try and explain why. So this piece here from Lewis Steele said, Trent did not like the comparisons to Michael Owen and Steve McManaman, who both left Liverpool for Madrid 2 decades ago, as his situation is different. He's won everything there is to win at Liverpool, whereas those two had to leave to chase trophies. In my opinion, that makes it worse, because as he pointed out at the end of that, those players left to win trophies because they didn't feel Liverpool could fulfill their ambitions. Trent is leaving a team that's just won the Premier League, a team that has recently won the European Cup and been in more finals. So for me, that makes what he's doing worse, because he's leaving to look after his own interests and to look after his back pocket. Whereas those, at least Trent admitted, were chasing trophies. Well, he could fulfill that at Liverpool. So for me, that makes the situation with Trent even more frustrating. I hope he does well, just don't want him to fail, said Ashton. And again, appreciate that and appreciate your sentiment as well, my friend. Shane said, let me say something else. Stay away from the parade because you're not welcome. Trent, Hugh Judas, leave him at home. Give Bradley the starting spot and call DJ Isadale up to the bench for the rest of the season. Look, I have to admit, I'm a little bit surprised to see the post from Trent today. I am. I'm a little bit surprised. I thought that this was going to come after the end of season parade, but it will be a very weird sensation if he's on that bus. And look, he has every right to be on the bus with his teammates at the end of the season. But I feel like he won't enjoy it. I think that's the fairest way I can be about it, because whatever people want to say and tell Liverpool fans how to feel, Liverpool fans have made it very clear how they feel about all of this. They feel let down by somebody who was one of their own, departing for Real Madrid. But whether he shows up to the parade or not, that's up to Trent to decide. David Massett said, as a Scouser, I'm just annoyed that he kept quiet. Alex Macklin said Trent is a snake. Harry said, we'll miss Trent's creative output, but now we can fill in where he lacks, which is defending. Joseph Purvis said, I don't mind a player leaving. That happens. However, it is indeed the way he's leaving, and I think he deserves some stick for dragging everybody on. However, he shouldn't get abuse solely on leaving. And again, thank you, mate, for sharing your thoughts. Look, I've loads more comments to get through, as you would imagine, and I will try to get to as many as I can. But again, I just want to give you some more insight into this. So, I read a piece today that suggested that Trent went into Arne Slot's office during the international break in March and informed him and the club that he was leaving. Now, what confuses me here, right, is that Trent told the club he was leaving in the March international window. And look, I understand Arne Slot isn't going to come out and just announce it. That has to be left to Trent. But I'm very confused as to the Adidas post and the Linda Puzzi post with the googly eye emojis when somebody said John just casually taking a picture with Trent. Why were we being led on? Why were our emotions being played with again? I just, that's the part of this. I can always understand people being selfish and looking after their own interests. Inherently, human beings are most often selfish. But again, this PR stunt today was nothing more than that. A PR stunt to try and make people feel like this was a tough decision. It wasn't a tough decision. It was such a tough decision that he ran down his contract for 2 years in order to leave so he could get a 20 million quid signed and on fee and move to Real Madrid to be with his mate Jude. Liverpool apparently did everything possible. Michael Edwards and Richard Hughes were trying to convince Trent to stay. They tried to make him the highest paid fullback in the Premier League, if not world football. So for once, I have limited blame to place on the club. Often people are going to say, well, look, the club let him run his contract down. There's something to that, but also, if somebody has something in their mind, you can't make them do anything. So if Trent had already decided or was looking at leaving, nothing that the club could offer him are going to make him stay if he's made that decision. So however long we've let the contract run down, you can't sell or get a player to sign a new deal if they don't want to. So for me, I feel like he's manipulated this decision in his favour. Anthony said, United fan here, not major on Liverpool news, but maybe you should just be glad it all happened. Remember the good moments, corner taken quickly, in my opinion. So again, Anthony, I appreciate your view on it as well. But let me ask you this. As we mentioned earlier, if Paul Scholes or Ryan Giggs did that at the peak of their career at Manchester United, when you were winning stuff, and said they were leaving the club for free, do you still think you'd be just giving them a pat on the back and saying, well done? Now, maybe you would. Maybe you would, mate. But not me and not this. This one feels like a betrayal, quite frankly, to me. But again, I can only speak for myself, and I'm not trying to put words in anybody else's mouth. Nevlin said, can we call Trent a rat, a moron? Really? Pissed. Look, just don't go into anything inciting hatred or inciting aggression or anything. Trent's made this decision. We wanted to know what was going to happen. Now we know what's happening. And yeah, we'll probably go through a few different ranges of emotions, Nevlin, from anger to denial to all the usual things. But ultimately, I'd made peace with it a long time ago. And my point through all of this has been, he's known what he's wanted to do for quite a while. And he's kept quiet out of cowardice and no other reason. Now that the league title is won, he's come out and said what he said. The big decision here is going to be, what does Arne Slot do? Does he put him in the starting lineup against Arsenal on Sunday? Because I tell you what, I'm very interested to hear how the Kop react to it. So I don't think, for me, Arne Slot should just say to him now, you're done. Just go, train, do whatever you want to do, but you're finished for the rest of this season. Because I just don't see how it benefits. It's just going to bring in a negative attitude. And look, if you're unsure how Scousers feel about it, just look at the reaction from bona fide Scousers. Even Pop World in Liverpool's barred him. And I'm not even joking about that. They put up a post, Trent barred. So Scousers feel let down by one of their own. I don't have Scouse blood. I'm not entitled to say how Scousers should feel. But I can tell you how Craig Houlden feels. And I feel like Trent's manipulated the fans again. And the club have tried to be professional about it. But Trent has just strung everybody along to look after his own interest. And I absolutely will put him in the McManaman and the Michael Owen camp of traitors. That's the way I look at it. When you come now, when you're with us, you're with us. When you're not with us and you wear another jersey, you're the opposition and expect to be treated equally. Right. Mantis said, just a normal lad from Liverpool. His dream came true. What was the celebration against West Ham about? Slither out the back door. So apparently that was at the media in Madrid, talking so much about his future. Again, it just looks stupid. It just looks like exactly like Jude Bellingham did. Jude Bellingham did the very same reaction when he was playing for Borussia Dortmund and ended up going off to Madrid. And it looks like this has been in the works for a long time, because there's been a preemptive bigging up of Trent's persona, billboards with fashion labels and all these other things to build up his worldwide status and his brand. And that's what this is about. Brand Trent. Everything else that came before it, I think, is empty and hollow. 20 years at a club and you leave making sure the club get nothing to look after your own interests. And as for his brother, sitting in the stands in Wembley sniggering when Liverpool went 2-0 down to Newcastle, sitting up there laughing, that tells you the type of people we've been dealing with. That tells you the type of characters that Trent have been being influenced and engaging with. So to me, it is what it is. Off you pop and get ready for what you're going to get over there in Madrid, which is absolute abuse. Media, publicity-wise, even the fans are already saying they don't want them. There's already pictures saying this is the guy. We needed a right back and we bring in the guy who left Vinny Jr. unmarked in the cup final. So I hope he enjoys it, because it is going to be an utter failure over there in Madrid from him, in my opinion. And yes, I'm bitter about it. I am. I've kept my counsel until now. But now I'm going to have my say like everybody else. And if he thinks he's winning a Ballon d'Or, he's got another thing coming. He's going to be benched as soon as Carvajal is back and the fans are cheering for him. So best of luck. Some Villa fans still give Grealish hell for leaving for City. At least Villa got £100 million. We're not getting a penny, and he expects the red carpet treatment until the end of the season. Look, I don't know what he expects, in all honesty. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't watch the video. I didn't need to watch the video. I read the transcript of it, but I didn't want to sit there and look at a little Judas staring down the camera, trying to profess like it's a decision that's breaking his heart. Because I don't believe it is. It's a decision that he calculated and made intentionally and played out. So I didn't want to watch the video and see his crocodile tears or his fake holding back of emotion. It's empty. It means nothing to me. Who will be the next right back? I'm not sure who will target Anthony, to be honest with you. I think Bradley will be given a chance, and rightly so. I think most of us would agree with that. I think the sentiment that Bradley has to prove that he can move past these injuries is a fair one as well, because as much as we all like Conor Bradley, I would say he still has work to do, and also we need to make sure that these injuries can be put behind him. But other than that, yeah, it's an interesting one, and now we can start to really have those conversations around who the right back will be, because we know Trent is leaving. Wesley or Frimpong, said Alex. Well, I'm not sure on Frimpong. I genuinely don't know that Liverpool are interested there. Wesley we'll talk about in the late night video as well, because I have a little bit on him, and he is an option. Liverpool are one of the clubs who are in a bit of a battle to try and sign Wesley from Flamenco, the right back. Stephen Reynolds said, give his Premier League medal and seat on the parade bus to Jay Spearing, top servant to the club. Patrick said he will be the next Coutinho. So look, let's go through his statement. Let's read it out. I'm sure everybody's probably heard it, but just in case you haven't, I feel like it's only fitting that we start with that today and go through Trent's statement. So bear with me while I just get my notes up here. So this is what Trent had to say. After 20 years at Liverpool Football Club, now is the time for me to confirm that I will be leaving at the end of the season. This is easily the hardest decision I've ever made in my life. Now let's just stop it at that for 1 second. This is the hardest decision he's ever made in his life. The multi-millionaire, the hardest decision that he's had to make in his pampered arse life was which multi-million contract to take. Whether to take the one in the city that I profess to love and grew up in and wanted to captain the team of, or run over to Real Madrid. Boo fucking who. Really tough decision that, Trent. I mean, wow. If that's the hardest decision you've had to make in your life, then you've led a very sheltered and fortunate life, my friend. He went on to say, I know many of you have wondered or why or been frustrated that I haven't spoken about this yet. No, we've knew you're a coward, Trent. We've known exactly why you haven't spoken about it, because you're a coward, but we go on. But it was always my intention to keep my full focus on the team's best interest, which was securing number 20. Yeah, you did that by letting us get rinsed in the media, Trent. Oh, and also, you know the game against Man United where he was awful and we all called him out for being awful, and we were told that he's professional and that he's fully focused and shown no signs of it? Well, apparently he doesn't even remember playing that game. That's how up his arse, up his own arse his head was. But again, we're lied to and told that these things don't impact players and that these things don't impact performances on the pitch, even though the player now himself has admitted it. So once again, I want to take this as an opportunity to say to everybody, don't believe everything that the club put out, because the club have to do certain things. Arne has to be statesmanlike. Arne has to be protective of his squad. So I never expect him to be blunt and honest. This is where the journalists earn their crust, in my opinion, and once again they're left wanting, because I've not read a single piece from any of them as of yet that suggests that Trent's left the city high and dry. It's all just more puff piece bollocks. But anyway, let's carry on with his statement. The club has been my whole life, my whole world for 20 years. From the academy right through until now. The support and love I felt from everybody inside and outside of the club will stay with me forever. I will forever be in debt to you all. So much so that he made sure the club got nothing and ran off to Madrid, because they didn't want to pay for him, because they didn't value him that much. But anyway, I'll continue on with his crocodile tears statement. But I've never known anything else, and this decision is about experiencing a new challenge, taking myself out of my comfort zone and pushing myself both professionally and personally. I've given my all every single day. I've been at this, one second. I've been at this, been at this club, and I hope that you think I've given back to you during my time here. From the bottom of my heart, I thank everybody, my coaches, my managers, my teammates, the staff, and our incredible supporters for the last 20 years. I've been blessed enough to live out my dreams here, and I will never ever take for granted the special moments I've been fortunate enough to have lived through with you all. My love for this club will never die. And then about an hour later, a statement comes out saying he was dreaming about playing for Real Madrid as a child. There you go. So, again, it's just more manipulated bollocks. It was his dream all of his life to captain Liverpool. It means more winning trophies here than anywhere else, until somebody flashes their eyelashes at him and his mate Duke gets in his ear and then he fucks off to Madrid. And he dreamt about playing for Madrid since he was a child. I'll let you decide whether you want to believe that or not. Muckrab said, interested to see him as a right wing back. Disappointed though. Stevie Boy said, I get the feeling this was planned 2 years ago. The signing on fee is 40 mil. 20 mil is what I'm seeing reported, by the way. But either way, you know, it's kind of irrelevant. 20 mil, 40 mil, whatever it is. He's getting a big signing on fee. And I believe it was planned 2 years ago as well. Because he's starting to play the whole I didn't feel like the club wanted me card. Read some articles today and you'll see that come out. Because the club were in transition at the time. Jurgen was leaving, Schmadtke was leaving, there was sporting directors in and out, and Trent felt like he wasn't being prioritised. Boo-hoo. Boo-fucking-hoo. Patrick said if he plays once like he did on Sunday, the clouds of Madrid will get very dark for him. Chancellor Mohada said, Craig, Trent spoke and is acting like a politician. Lied about wanting to be the next Gerrard and then shafted us. Yep. Dreamt about captaining the club, was probably 2 years away from doing it and ran off to Madrid. So again, like I say, people just need to read between the lines and people need to just understand that human nature at times is human nature. I've always said to you that the contract situation was going to be a distraction for Virgil, for Mo and for Trent. All of them. The club and Arna tried to tell us it wasn't because they can't tell us the truth. But human nature is that it was in their heads. Mo said it was in his head. Virgil said it was in his head. And now Trent has just confirmed that he doesn't even remember the United game because it was in his head. But we were all told that they're professionals and that us being outraged or frustrated by it or thinking it might undermine the season is unfair. Well, how about the fans? Because yet again, I feel like we're the ones that's opinions or feelings aren't being considered here. The poor little pampered multi-millionaire's feelings must be looked after. No! While you're in the camp, yes. But when you're against us, you're against us. And you consciously made that decision. So for me and for many other people now, Trent is the opposition, the enemy. And his Liverpool folklore and legend, over. You will always be credited for what you achieved. You were part of a team that won 2 Premier Leagues, a team that won a European Cup and lots of other trophies. And yes, you represented the club with distinction. But all that goodwill goes out the window when you leave the way you did. For free and manipulate the situation over a very long time. Alex Roach said, wishing him all the best. If it was me, I would join Madrid. No problem with that as well, Alex. You're absolutely entitled to have that opinion, my friend. Even pushing aside the Trent part for a minute, Alex, for me, I just despise Real Madrid and everything that they are and are about. Their entitlement, their arrogance, I just don't... They are the antithesis of everything Liverpool are. And everything Liverpool stands for as a city and everything as a football club. And Real Madrid are the exact opposite of that. So for me, I just don't understand that decision, but I respect the fact that you think differently. Mark Fitchin said, Craig, forget Trent. What's our options for left back? Is Bradley now the main right back or do we buy? So in answer to the left back one, Kirkes is the front runner. And I think Kirkes will get done, personally. Yes, there will be other names mentioned. I've seen Manchester City are now inquiring after Ray Knight-Nuri from Wolves, who was another name in the mix with us. Jarell Hatto, of course, another name, Mark, that's been mentioned. I'm just wondering whether Hatto and Kirkes come in, because I feel like we may see movement in the centre-back area. And at right-back, mate, other than Wesley, I really don't know at this point, because I've tried to not look into the right-back situation until we got the 100% confirmation that Trent's the part. And so I promise you over the next week or two, I'll start digging a lot more on that one. But thank you, my man. Appreciate you. Right, honestly, folks, I'm going to try to get through as many of these as I can. So please do keep your comments coming in. I've got more super chats to get to in a moment. But I want to just show you something, right? So everyone that's watching us, watch the difference between these two posts from Liverpool Football Club. I'm going to bring up a full screen image for you now. So on the left, you'll see Liverpool Football Club's post when Divock Origi was leaving. And it reads, Divock Origi will leave the club when his contract expires at the end of June. Thank you for an incredible 8 years of service and leaving us with so many special memories. At Divock Origi, Liverpool legend. So that's the context for when Divock left the club. Today, Liverpool posted this. Trent Alexander-Arnold has informed Liverpool of his intention to leave the club this summer upon the expiry of his current contract. End of post. Do you see the difference there? One of them did it the right way and the club credit him and thank him for his memories. The other one is slithering his way out the back door, having shafted everyone, and the club just put out a factual statement. No emotion, no thanks, no nothing. Just straight to the point, a statement that Trent has informed the club that he wants to go. There's a big difference there, and it's clearly annoyed the club as well, as much as they will be professional about it. John Edinger said, this is a shame and very upsetting that he is being selfish. I believe that he will have much regret later in his life. Shane said, I will say this too. Sorry for the rant. Don't be sorry. Days like today, I'm well prepared for what the chat is going to be like, and it's going to be an emotional evening. I just try to make sure that I don't jump down anyone's throat either way, for or against, in defence of, or to speak out against Trent. I truly believe on days like today, everybody has the right to their views and everybody has a right to have their feelings heard, whether I agree with it or not. Anyway, Shane, let's keep going. You said, I'm sick of being told how to feel. We should not bow down and let him out of his contract early. Also, Maka for vice captain. Well, I agree with you on the Maka show. I absolutely love Maka, and I think he'd be an incredible vice captain, as well as Mohamed Salah, of course. Let me say this: that telling fans how to feel part sticks in my throat as well, mate. And I'm talking about mainly journalists and media at this point, and former players, because they've no right to tell us what we should or shouldn't feel. We can feel however we feel, and we're old enough and wise enough and have been around long enough to figure out these situations for ourselves and know how we feel about them. And like we've seen with some posts today, there are going to be people who say Trent was a great servant and I wish him well. And truly, I respect that opinion as well. Marcus said, Carragher says a lot of nonsense, but how he's been speaking about how Liverpool fans during this Trent saga has been refreshing from a sports journalist. It has. Absolutely. I've disagreed with Jamie Carragher on a lot of stuff. But I think he's been on the money in allowing Liverpool to deal with this their own way as a city and as a group of football fans and not being told how to feel by others. Anthony Doyle said, just another player now. Yep. It'll be very interesting to see what happens for the remainder of the season as we try to figure out whether Trent's going to be played or not. I hope he isn't, personally, now that Bradley's back fit. John said, Trent's brother being his agent is definitely a huge part of this. Shocking how greedy agents can be, especially when you involve family. Well, look, I will only speak about Trent's brother because he's part of the deal. Players' families for me are off limits, but that video of his brother sniggering at Wembley when we went 2-0 down to Newcastle has really rubbed me up the wrong way as a fan. I mean, I don't know him. I don't know anything about him. I don't want to know him or know anything about him. But I don't believe this is the first time he's done something along those lines. I think there was some issue with tickets being sold at one point as well. But look, these are the people that help guide the careers of footballers. And agents come in all different shapes and sizes. Some of them are all about a pound note. Some of them genuinely want the best for their players. But make no mistake about it, this situation with Trent has been fully engineered and has been made to try to save face during all. He's even denied that he knew Real Madrid were going to make that bid in January. Well, at least in the piece on The Athletic, which is basically just Trent's PR team briefing them, in my opinion, and them writing whatever the PR team tell them to, because it's like the most one-sided bullshit article I've ever read from James Pearce and Mario Cartagena, I think it is, whoever the correspondent from Madrid is on The Athletic. It's just one Madrid side, very biased, and James Pearce doing absolutely nothing to stick up for Liverpool or its fans. It's just a puff piece from... It's just shocking, is all I'm going to say. Will said, Trent has a poor game for Liverpool. Fans show him support. Trent has a poor game for Madrid. Well, let's say it'll be difficult. And you know what else is really annoying? I don't know if I have this in my notes or not, but I want to read you out something else. One sec. One sec. I'm trying to find the post that spoke about Trent finding Arne Slot hugely impressive as a character. So it just makes it all the more annoying for me, because now we're a team where we're challenging. And Real Madrid are the competition now. Make no mistake about it. We compete with them for the Champions League every season, and he's joining the enemy, and he's joining the enemy for free. Yeah, sorry, I don't have that post. Yeah, I don't have the post that I originally wanted to read out there about Trent speaking about Arne Slot. Mohamed Salah has posted, He said, excuse me, it's been a pleasure sharing a special friendship with you and playing alongside you. I wish you the best, and I'm sure we'll meet again. Again, I would expect nothing less from his teammates. His teammates will look at this differently, of course, because he's a friend to them, and they're not going to want to undermine their friend. So I totally get and appreciate the players' post on this as well. TOTT2KZ1 said, always remember, no one's bigger than the club, WFM. Right now, I know I've read out a load of super chats, so I'm going to get through a load of other comments now. Roger French said, unfortunately, Trent likes his Monaco lifestyle, already is a prima donna, ready-made for Madrid. Neil Thompson said, we have to cover for Bradley. It's the injuries that is a concern, so we need cover at right back. As they say, he's clearly made his bed. We have to concentrate on who wants to play for us. Stevie G was one of a kind, said Haris. Steve Aldersey said, he's 100 million in debt to us for the fee we should have had. Yeah, and here's the thing I keep saying about this as well, Steve, is Madrid made it very clear they only wanted him when his contract ran down. It's not like they were going out there to spend 100 million quid to buy Trent. They only wanted him for free. And if that doesn't tell him something, I don't know what else will. But he's got what he wanted now. And look, he hasn't actually confirmed legally or technically that he's going to Madrid yet. All we've got confirmation of is that he's leaving Liverpool Football Club. Now, he will go to Madrid, but that hasn't been signed yet. Eli Wood said, even Grealish fetched Villa 100 million. Thank God, never got a Trent kit. I have one on the wall over there in my living room, which will be, of course, coming down and be left out for the bin men, because I'm not staring at that day after day. Dave Sharple said, you can see why Mo was so pissed at him. More of a scouser than him. Hang on, there's more I want to get through here. David Newell said, you could see the VVD has changed the way he is towards Trent this season. He was constantly fuming with Trent's defensive work. Kev Palmer said, I honestly do wonder what's going to happen to him at the parade, because in all honesty, it might be worth him staying at home. How can you cheer him now? On a personal level, right, I don't know, Kev, how somebody would have the arrogance to go to that parade in his position. He's fully entitled to. But, I wouldn't do it in his position. I'm sure many of you people wouldn't do it in his position. Maybe some of you would, but I'd be embarrassed to get on that bus while everybody else is celebrating, looking to the future, and it would be embarrassing for me. But, like I said, I feel if he had have announced this a long time ago, months ago, this would have been a very different situation. But instead, he allowed the club to be rinsed over and over again in the media. And this talk about trying to protect and stay focused on the season, there's probably a semblance of truth to that. And he probably did want to make sure Liverpool won the league. But him being open and honest with the fan base is what's going to come back to, or not being open and honest is what's going to come back to bite him in the ass, in my opinion. Cal said 2 Premier League titles, Stevie G none. One will forever be a legend, one will forever be a sellout. Anyone that doesn't understand this doesn't understand Liverpool. So I don't know anything that he's written or said about this situation, Evelyn, because I don't really pay too much attention to what Mr. I'm running to the police because you said my name journalist has to stay. But either way, like I've said, many shills that work covering Liverpool Football Club, many people that profess to be journalists but are nothing more than an extension of the club's PR team, that feel they're above other people and feel like they get to look down on the rest of us even though they're lying through their fucking gritted teeth to us day after day with bullshit stories. We all knew he was going. They knew he was going. The Echo knew he was going. It's all just, again, typical modern journalism around Liverpool Football Club, in that there is none. Aaron Staunton goes straight to the point and says, Trent is a rat, end of story. And thank you, Aaron, for your membership as well, mate. Appreciate you. Heck said, it's funny that some fans don't see Real Madrid as rivals. Yeah, I see them as right. I see them as the European version of Manchester United. To me, that's the way I see them in that sense. They are the competition, and also, and I said this earlier on, they are the absolute polar opposite of everything about Liverpool as a city and as a football club. Fimble said, funny how he made his mind up in March. Yeah, funny, isn't it? Now, he told Arne Slot in March, but there's no way on earth I believe he's only made his mind up then. His mind was made up a long time ago, but it is what it is. Michael Dunstan said, I think Trent will be playing with the reserves at Real Madrid, and it won't make you Bellingham. He'll only be playing in FIFA. There was a comment that Connor sent to me. 1 second. Let me just check in on this one. Where was it? Sorry, folks. Bear with me 1 second. Where's that comment gone? Oh, yeah, this one. So there was a here we go post about Trent joining Madrid, and a Madrid fan account already posted, we needed a defender, and guess who we signed? The one who left Vinny unmarked in the Champions League 2022 final. They're already off. They don't want them. They're already complaining about him, and he hasn't even kicked the ball yet. Craig Peter said Trent lacks class. Macca for vice captain. Right, look, a couple of things, ladies and gents. This is probably going to be a longer stream than normal, by the way, so do stick with us. If you're coming in late, don't worry. We're going to try to get to as many points as we can. I want to run a poll on it, though, now that we know what Trent's doing. So let me just get this poll up, because I want to gauge your feelings. And we know I can't talk and type at the same time. Right. More seconds. Right, so I've got to post this. I'm going to give you 4 options. How do you view Trent now? Still respect him. He's a rat. Unsure or not bothered. So we'll leave that poll running up and we'll come back to it in a while and we'll see how people feel about it. I think the easiest way to gauge a group reaction is to run that poll. So again, I'm not going to influence it. I'm going to let you guys vote away in it and we'll get back to it soon. Bradley mural inbound to replace Trent's mural, said Harrison. Yeah, I was only thinking of the person that owns that house that the Trent mural's on at the minute. Feel sorry for Slot when he has his press conferences in the next couple of days, said Stevie Boy. So apparently he was asked, by the way, about Federico Chiesa in one of the press conferences and gave a kind of long-winded nothing answer that didn't really answer the question. Replace Trent's mural with one of Arthur Mello, said Haris. Connor Mullen said, who wants Trent, the owners or the manager? Because the manager is leaving, the new one might not want Trent. Well, the manager doesn't make the signings really at Real Madrid. Florentino Perez and the recruitment team make the signings. But look, either way, we have the final decision now. We know he's off, so... thank you all for your super chats and memberships at TT2KZ1. Please all remember to hit the like button. Yes, thank you. Carl Coates said, if Alonso gets the Real gig, Trent won't fit in the system he plays. Good luck. Well, he may make Trent, I guess, the right side of that midfield if he goes with a 3-5-2 look. So either way, I don't think it's going to work out for him. And this isn't petty me, Carl, saying this isn't going to work out for him. I just think this isn't going to work out for him because he's not good enough to play the way Madrid fans will want him to play, and I just think it'll end in tears. But I don't want him back at Liverpool either. Michael Howell said, do you think there's a chance we could double dip in the transfer market at centre-back and use Gomez and potentially Endo as Bradley cover? So for me, I'm intrigued by what happens with Canade's contract, and of course I want Ibu to stay, but, you know, let's assume that we get Canade's contract sorted just for a minute. So if Canade stays and Virgil stays, I'm selling Kwanzaa if I'm Arne Slot, and I'm bringing in Huijsen, or I'm putting all my eggs to try and get Huijsen. And I'd still be looking to bring in Jarell Haddo, because Jarell Haddo could cover left-sided centre-back, could play at left-back, and just could be a versatile player if Gomez wanted to move on. But either way, I do think we're going to see a summer where Jarell Kwanzaa's future is cast into doubt, and it's already starting to be reported now. I've been saying it to you guys for a month or two that I've known his future's up in the air. So this piece here said Jarell Kwanzaa leaving Liverpool is a concrete possibility. Liverpool are still in negotiations with Canade, but if they're interested in players like Huijsen or Haddo, it's because they want to make an investment, and they also expect clubs to arrive with proposals. Andy said, how funny would it be if the new Madrid manager doesn't want Trent? Very. But has anybody got any clues as to why Linda Puzzi posted the googly eyes emoji under the picture of Trent with John and somebody saying, just casually dropping a picture of John with Trent? I don't understand why she posted that. Adidas, there was always the chance that it was just two Adidas athletes and they were just posting about it anyway, because if he goes to Madrid, they're Adidas. So, but from Linda, I'm very confused by that post. Again, not trying to be hateful or disrespectful, just genuinely confused. Cow Stuff, and again, excuse me if I've mispronounced, my friend, just drop more on this super chat than Madrid would on Trent, feeling rich. True. I think he's getting a hefty signing on fee, but yeah, you're right, my friend. They didn't want to pay for him, so. And look, it'll be interesting to see if Liverpool release Trent early for the Club World Cup or not. I mean, for me, I'd be telling him to stay at home from this point onwards anyway, and that he's not going to be part of the group moving forward. Get yourself an early holiday and off you pop. But it'll be interesting to see if the club do cancel his contract a month early. John said, Yamal versus Trent in El Clasico. Let us pray. Yes, that's going to be an interesting one for a few years to come. I've seen a couple of people posting about that as well. Yeah, yeah, that one would be funny. Will said, I'd take Pedro Porro, Craig. What do you think? Because Spurs want to sell. His name has been mentioned a little bit recently. I don't know, and I haven't watched enough of Pedro Porro to know if he'd be anywhere near good enough. The only thing I really remember is his debut, where I think was it Graham Souness? Somebody rinsed them on a Spurs debut, and I've never really been able to get past that in my head. Although I know his Spurs career has progressed and has gotten better since that. Just that really iffy debut kind of stuck in my mind. Mantis said, why are Liverpool fans so mad he isn't going to a rival? Madrid are definitely our European rivals. Remember what Ramos did to Salah and you joined that? Yes, exactly. And Harvey Elliott, being the Liverpool fan that he is and not even a born and bred Scouser, said that he didn't want to go to Madrid or even be shown around Madrid because of that exact same thing. But again, this is the difference between somebody who actually understands and respects and knows his roots and somebody who is all about brand 66. Well, best of luck with that, by the way, because you won't be able to wear number 66 in Madrid because you're not allowed to wear above the number 25 or 26, I think, or maybe even lower than that. You can wear above, let's say, number 25, but I don't know which number it is for a fact. So we'd be forgetting about number 66. He'd be changing squad numbers without a shadow of a doubt. Shane said, I just think he made his mind up on holiday with Jude and the Madrid players in America. Yep, like we all wondered, was Trent going to be the agent trying to bring Bellingham to Liverpool? Well, it looks like it was the other way around. Aaron Staunton said, the thing is that's annoyed me most about all of this is Trent's performances against United at home. He didn't care. It was so obvious. On that, mate, I swear I do have this one, so let me read it out. Let me find it. So Fabrizio Romano said Jude Bellingham has always spoken to Trent in private about how good life is in Madrid, the club and the city, and how he found a completely new love for football. Am I supposed to believe that shit from Romano? So Bellingham found a new love for football at the age of 20 or 21 and doesn't go around swearing at referees every week in La Liga. He certainly looks like he's found a new love of the game. He looks like he's bought into the absolute entitlement of Real Madrid, Bellingham, but Romano can do one as well. Sky Sports News said the overriding reason that Trent Alexander-Arnold has decided to leave Liverpool is to fulfill a boyhood dream to play for Real Madrid. A boyhood dream. Right, here it is. So, in answer to this post from Aaron, Chris Bascom wrote this. The lowest point was during January's draw against Manchester United in Alexander-Arnold's first game since the news of Real Madrid's bid was known. His mind was such a blur and in such a poor performance that he has since confided to friends he remembers nothing about being on the pitch at Anfield that night. But it doesn't impact them, doesn't get in their minds because they're professional players. Remember all the journalists and coaches telling us this? Doesn't get in these lads' minds. They're professional athletes, professional players. Doesn't remember what he done out there on the pitch though, but clearly wasn't in his mind because he couldn't recall what happened. I can tell you what happened, Trent. You were shite. Lee Madison said, love you, mate, and your show. So honest in your comments. Liverpool are bigger than any player or owners. We're Liverpool and we go again. Bye, Trent. Lee, thank you, man, for your support. Really means a lot. Actually, while we're speaking about that, again, the channel's broken its own record. For the last 28 days, we've now had 7.3 million views on YouTube. And to all of you that do support the channel, thank you. That is incredible. Never thought we'd see numbers like that. You know, a few years ago, maybe even 18 months ago, our record that we broke ourselves was about 3.5 million views in a month. And today I wake up, look at my phone as I do every morning, well, every early afternoon when I wake up, and I've seen that we've got 7.3 million views in 28 days, which I can't thank you all enough. Also want to just let people know about this now. The Cork show, as promised, is now officially on sale. You can get your tickets to a show at Cypress Avenue, Cork. It is an 18s plus event because of licensing laws. Tickets are on sale right now. You can scan that QR code to get your tickets, or the link tree at the top of the chat that is pinned has all of our shows available on that. So you can either go to the link tree link that's pinned to the top of the chat, which will show you the Liverpool shows and the Cork show, or you can scan that QR code. The Liverpool shows are flying, by the way. Very close to selling out one of them, and can't wait to come over and see everybody for the two shows. The last day of the season on May 28th. So thank you all again for that. Cook said, sell the shirt and give the money to charity. No. Look, trust me, we do plenty for charity and we give plenty of donations. But for me, it's about me releasing the shirt, if you get me. It's more about me getting closure on it. Now, look, my daughter said she wants it for her room, so maybe I give it to her, because as long as I don't have to look at it, I don't mind. And actually, on my baby girl, I just want to take a second to say happy birthday to her. She turned 21 today. She's in Liverpool at the minute celebrating her 21st. She's out for a meal over there. But I just want to say how proud I am of her and the lady she's turning into, and how old I feel now at 39.4. The fact that I have a 21-year-old daughter. So who do we get to back up Bradley? It's a really good question, and one that, yes, I guess now we should start discussing. There was something about Frimpong that just came into my notes here. So 1 second. So David Ornstein said, Jeremy Frimpong would be keen on a move to Liverpool if they decide to go down that route. The player has a release clause of €35 million. Now, I don't know if Liverpool want to go after Frimpong or not, but at 35 million euro, price wise, it's not too bad. But what kind of intrigues me about the idea of Frimpong is you could almost have a Bradley and a Salah cover if you brought in a Frimpong. So let's say Bradley's injured, obviously you can play him at right back. Let's say Mo needs a breather or a rest. Well, you could put Frimpong further forward. So again, I don't know if he would expect to come in and be an out-and-out starter every week. I don't know if that would undermine Conor Bradley, but I do know that the idea of the two of them potentially in the squad would certainly give Arne Slot some options. Did Trent say he'll be back? We don't buy prima donnas. I think he meant back to visit the club. I think is what I took from it anyway. I don't think he meant back to play. I think he meant he'll be back to the city and the club and he'll visit again in the future. That's at least what I took from it, mate. Hex said Kwanzaa isn't good enough. I agree. Look, I agree, but I'm not saying he won't turn into that player. But I just don't think Kwanzaa's at that level now, and we kind of need somebody for the now. So I would sell him if you got 35, 40 million, personally. Patrick said, I wouldn't be surprised if we bring in Mark Gay. So when I was speaking to journalists previously about Mark Gay, there was a lot of good things that the club liked about him, but his lack of aerial prowess was probably one of the things that counted against them. Because if you look at our two centre-backs, Virgil van Dijk and Ibrahim Konate, defensively, they're aerially dominant. There's not much that gets past them two in the air. But I think Mark Gay is a little bit lacking in that metric. But lots of other boxes ticked with Mark Gay. And the fact that he's 1 year to go in his Palace contract would certainly mean this might be the summary move somewhere. Jason Norton said, I'm astounded at the blowback. Trent deserves to go. Served us so well. Darwin is the real culprit, having played so badly for so long. And again, Jason, I respect your opinion. You know, we look at this with very different eyes, mate. But again, I do respect that you've taken the time to give your opinion, send in a super chat, and I respect you for that. On Darwin, yeah, I mean, you're not going to get any disagreement from me, Jason, about Darwin, mate. The sooner the better. He's an ex-Liverpool player. I've had my fill of the Darwin nonsense. Daniel Brown said, at least you'll never leave us, Craig, you legend. Well, on that, actually, I meant to say, no, I'm good, mate. I'm hopefully not going anywhere for the foreseeable, especially the way, as I said, the channel's growing and going. Yeah. You can sign me up. I won't be leaving on a free. Danny said, disappointed in Trent, but at least we'll all know what side of the track next time we play Real Madrid. Yeah, that's true as well. Andre Nielsen said, I'm angry at Trent for the club's sake, yes, but also his. I don't see this ever working. The Spanish media will drag you through the mud the minute he doesn't backtrack. It's already happening. He'll crumble when he plays against us at Anfield, said Joshua. What else we got? How do most Scousers in our community feel? Yeah, that's really good. I mean, if there are Scousers, because look, I know that this is something that often we say all Liverpool fans are the same, but when it comes to one of your own from your city, I do think there's a difference from me sitting here telling you my feelings versus people who have been born and bred in the city that understand the us against them mentality and the pride that you take in being a Scouser, being from the city. So yeah, any Scousers in the chat, please do certainly let yourselves be known, and please do share your thoughts on it, because, you know, I would imagine it's going to impact and hit Scousers even more so, because he was one of their own, one of their representatives on the pitch. Neville said, journos are being paid by Trent's brother. All out pieces, judging fans' reactions. What can we do as a community to make sure Trent knew the way we feel is not lost? Oh, he'll know, mate. He'll know. You know, these articles that are just puff PR pieces, you know, fans are going to see through them. Fans now know. I think there's been a real shift in the media landscape around Liverpool Football Club. Now, I want to make something really, 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 really clear. When I talk about journalists and belittle the coverage, I'm only speaking about the ones covering our patch at Liverpool. I'm not talking about the Henry Winters of this world, the Miguel Delaney's of this world, real good, top quality journalists that do proper journalism, that don't have a vested interest in something. When I speak about or call out journalists, I'm speaking about the ones that basically just are an extension of the club's PR team and will never speak out against the club, no matter how wrong they are or how bad a situation is. They're the ones that I'm speaking about. I have nothing but respect for journalism. I really do. And I appreciate very good journalism. And I often point it out on the channel. But these little cooks really wind me up. Because you call them out, they threaten to run to the police. You tell them that they're wrong on something, and then they start trying to belittle the Liverpool fan base. They get called out on their work, well, they think someone sent them there to give out to them. They just need to understand that people see through the bullshit, and you don't get to have a foot in both sides of the camp. You're either a Liverpool fan who's a journalist that will speak out and call things as they are, or you're an extension of the club's PR team. It is one or the other. There's no balance. There's no representation of how fans feel. It's just, we're going to write what the club tell us to write, even if deep down sometimes we know that it's probably just nonsense. For instance, why on earth did James Pearce ever write that Liverpool aren't going to be looking for a goalkeeper when everybody and their grandmother knew we were about to sign Georgi Mamardashvili? Why? Why would you write that? You've damaged your own reputation writing something that everybody knew was horseshit. So if you want to just keep playing the games to get the little invite to the club's dues and you want to be able to sit down and have John W. Henry pat you on the head and be a good boy, then go ahead and do that. But don't call yourself a fucking journalist, because you aren't. All you are is part of the PR team. Journalists ask difficult questions. Journalists try to get explanations when fans aren't feeling fair about things, when fans are feeling disrupted, when fans are feeling belittled. They don't jump on social media and start saying Liverpool fans acting like Chelsea fans and City fans just because we've dare asked FSG for a signing. So the same ones that are doing the same thing now, fans are going to see through it again. And I don't believe that these people are stupid enough not to know that fans are seeing through some of their silly posts. Adam said, "Evening, bro. Hope you and the family are well. Might be obvious, but who's next? A certain king on the wing. Can we do a poll for the next vice captain?" Look, for me, Mo is certainly going to be in that mix. Alexis McAllister. Look, if Mo and Virgil moved on in 2 years' time and Alexis was still here, he'd be my vote for the club captain. I absolutely love Macca and the attitude that he brings to the team and the way he just leaves it all out down the pitch every single week. Frank said, one second, Frank. Trent's a rat. Madrid fans don't even want him. I remember, and I said this to you guys at the time, when they unveiled Eden Hazard, €100 million signing from Chelsea. And he was out there in the centre of the Santiago Bernabeu doing his keepy uppies. And the camera panned to the crowd. And in the crowd, there was a banner that said, "We don't want him, we want Mbappe." That's the club you're joining. That's the fan base you're joining. Right, let's check in on the poll. We've had 1,600 votes, so we'll leave it get towards the 2,000 mark. If you haven't voted, please do. The poll tonight, the first one is, how do you view Trent now? Still respect him. He is a rat, unsure, or not bothered. So vote away, and we'll revisit that when we get to the 2,000 votes and give you the results. Acos said, "This PR excuse nonsense is offensive towards us." It is. But the fans are always the ones that are vilified. We're the ones expected to pony up the money for stuff. We're the ones expected to support the players religiously, even after bad games. We're never allowed to say a dissenting word. We're never allowed to call out the obvious thing, even when we're being lied to. But that's why this channel exists. And that's why this channel continues to grow. Because we try to represent the fan base as best as we can. We try to give an honest, unbiased, unfiltered opinion. You won't always agree with it, but it'll always be from the heart, and it will always be genuine about how I view a subject. And we try to give everyone a platform to have their say as well. Sorry, I meant to bring this one back up. I was born and bred in Sefton Park, Liverpool. Thank you, Ash. Appreciate that one. And let us know, Ash, how you feel about the situation. Shane Alman said, on Kwanzaa, I think it's a confidence thing. Instead of selling him, I think a loan might be beneficial for a player and the club. I guess the problem with a loan, and it's a sensible take in one regard, Shane, but I guess my worry would be if we loan them out, then we can't replace them because we don't know if we need a replacement for the next 5 years or if we need a loan or a here and now player. Do you understand what I mean? So it would just, for me, be another excuse for the club not to add more depth in that department if you loaned them out. Because let's say we did bring in Kwanzaa and Hatto, or excuse me, Hatto and Huijsen, and you loaned him out, and he played really well wherever he was out on loan. He's not going to want to come back to the club then and be fourth or fifth. And Liverpool would have already brought a replacement in, or wouldn't have brought a replacement in. It doesn't work for me in that regard. I just think we need to make a decision on him, whether it's stay or go. And there was plenty of interest in buying him as well. Right, let's check the poll. 1,750 votes now, so just 250 to go. Tobias, how are you, my friend? I don't trust their owners to sort out everything we'll need now. Right back, left back, centre back, striker, and possibly a defensive midfielder. I don't know what to... No, how do I say this? I don't know what's going to happen in the summer, but I do expect Tobias to still feel short by the end of the season. I don't mean my lacking in height. I mean, I still feel like I'm going to feel like our squad is short because they've never had a window where we've gone out and done business where we've all said, well, that's the squad boxed off now. But we have a chance to do it this summer. And 4 or 5 good additions and we are set. So, as I said all the way through, I'm trying to be fair and I'll believe it when I see it. Marty said, the day we won the title, I told myself, you know what? I don't care if he leaves. I'm thankful he was here. Trying really hard to stand by that now, but his explanation video really hit me wrong today. Yeah, it's I mean, like yourself, Marty, I've tried to tell myself as well that it's just another player moving on. But it hasn't hit me as hard as other players in the past, as an example. But like you, Marty, I have conflicting feelings from maybe 1 hour to the next on it. But what I do believe and what I've been consistent on all the way through is that I think he's been a coward. And I think that he has allowed a club that he professes to love to be dragged through the mud in pursuit of his own self-serving goals. Rob Wilson said, have you seen the fuss about Liverpool getting a guard of honour? How has it never been a problem when other clubs get one, but when we want one, it's a problem? Look, simple as this for me, Rob. You either give the guard of honour or we know that we know what you don't stand for as a club, which is sporting merit and have no class. That's the way I look at it. Chelsea gave us the guard of honour, went out and beat us on the pitch. Fair play to them. I don't like Chelsea as a football club, but I respect the fact that they respected that Liverpool had won the league and gave the guard of honour. If Arsenal or other clubs don't want to do it, that says a lot more about them than it does about us, mate. But we can only judge ourselves by our own standards. And let's wait and see. I suspect we'll get it. To be fair, I do. Hi, Craig. I'm not here to talk about Trent. He'll regret his decision. Let's talk about Trent's successor, Jeremy Frimpong. He'll come to us and will be a star. Mark my words, mate. Well, his name was mentioned there today. So let's wait and see. If I could just pick somebody myself, if I could just go out there into the Premier League and grab somebody, I'd probably look at Tino Livramento, but I don't think he's going to be available. But I do like him at right back. I think he's a very good right back. Lewis Steele said this. Justin, keep an eye on Nico Williams in terms of a potential move to Liverpool. That would be an incredibly exciting signing if that was to happen. But, you know, that's definitely I'll believe it when I see it. Mark said Kwanzaa was absolutely shocking on Sunday. For me, he's done as a Liverpool player, simply not good enough. I think the comment from somebody in the chat about confidence earlier on was spot on. I think that when he's confident, he looks like the business. He looks fine. But whenever there's a bit of a wobble, that he seems to fall apart. And look, I don't hold him responsible for the own goal. Virgil kicked it off and not much he could do there. But actually on that, let me read you out something from Ian Doyle of The Echo. Because, well, to me this summarises why I've no respect for him as a journalist or the work that he does. Let me read this out to you. So before he starts cry arsing about this being taken out of context, let me just say this is a small piece of a piece that he wrote. And it said, and it was about Kwanzaa, this section of it. He said, there was nothing he could do about Virgil van Dijk blasting a clearance against him from close range. Absolutely agree with that. Nothing he could do about that. But the next part is what absolutely made me laugh. While an undercooked pass from substitute Dominic Szoboszlai left Kwanzaa no option but to foul Moise Caicedo. Professional journalist just wrote that the undercooked pass from Dominic Szoboszlai left Kwanzaa with no option other than to foul Caicedo. The Caicedo that was running away from goal to the byline. The Caicedo that he absolutely did not have to foul because he wasn't through on goal and could have just turned and tried to get a block in, but was left with no option but to foul him and give away the penalty. Are you fucking for real? Have you ever set foot on a football pitch? You don't have to foul every single player that maybe goes a yard past you, especially if they're going away from goal. I couldn't believe what I was reading. Genuinely. Awful. Awful. No option but to foul him, for the love of God. If he left the club for 100 million he's worth, I'd say fair enough, but doing it this way, stringing the club and fans along, no, off you pop lad, said Chris Tatton Music. And yet, for me as well, I think for many Liverpool fans, mate, it would have certainly softened the blow. But, you know, if you couple where he's going with the fact that he's going for free, I think you can see and understand why so many Liverpool fans are angry about it. No option, really, said Mark. Yeah, no option. Had to foul him. Couldn't turn around or try to block the cross or, you know, not trip him up. Had to foul him. No other choice. Top journalism, that one. Top journalism. Joshua said, completely unrelated, but could somebody in the chat tell me why is there a Northern Ireland and a Republic of Ireland? Because England invaded Ireland and Ireland fought back, and there was an agreement signed that broke Ireland up, and the 6 counties in Northern Ireland stayed with Great Britain, and the other 26 counties belonged to the Republic of Ireland, a newly formed republic. That's the very, very, very simplistic answer. But again, that is completely simplistic. There is a lot more to it, but that's the gist of it. Stargirl said, Dad thinks due to the bad injury Chiesa had, they've been protecting him. In the past, Liverpool, someone didn't play for players for a year, will play next year. I think that doesn't ring true because of some of the reports from the journalists saying that it was the Plymouth game, that his performance in the Plymouth game wasn't up to scratch, and that worried Liverpool staff that he wasn't at the level. And truth is, Stargirl, your dad may be right, I may be right, others may be right. I just get the feeling that Arne Slot doesn't want them and wants to lay down a marker to tell the club not to bring in players who he doesn't trust or want. That's my best guess at it. But either way, I guess we'll figure out over the summer if he's sold or not. If he stays at the club, well then, could be something to what your dad thinks. But I just hope if he does stay at the club, he gets opportunities. Slot does not want Chiesa, said Jay Muse. Harry said, who's your top 5 club legends? It's just such a difficult question to answer because do I go for the ones that aren't in my era but that I know about? Or do I go for the ones that I've seen during my time playing? So I always try to avoid that question at all costs, but I probably try to answer it something along the line. No, I can't. I just don't think I can answer it. Because where do I draw the line? Like, do I forget about the Phil Thompsons? Do I forget about Crazy Horse? Do I go all the way back even further? It's a question that I don't think I can tier in top 5, if that makes sense. Right, we're nearly at we only need 15 more votes to get to 2,000 on the poll, and then we will give you the results of it. So if you haven't voted, last show, please do give it a quick vote. When we get to that 2,000 votes, we will let you know how people have voted. And right away, thank you to everyone that's joined us tonight. As you can see, we're only 129 subscribers away from hitting 310,000. So if you can take a second, hit that subscribe button. Really would help us a lot and we'd appreciate it. Thank you so much. Right, we've had the votes now. Let's end the poll. 53% of people said that he's a rat. That's their answer. So we asked, how did you view Trent now? Top answer, 53%. He's a rat. Not bothered, 19%. Unsure, 14%. Still respect him, 13%. And again, thank you to everyone that took the time to share their thoughts and to vote in the poll. I think it's fair to say most people there are pretty annoyed about the situation. Neil Thompson said he knew 2 years ago that Madrid would not pay for him. So you look at it from the point of view that long ago, then that as sneaky as it gets to run down your contract and ensure you get a move to them. So I can't say this as a matter of fact because I don't know it to be, but there is a thought process that the club were offering him a 5-year contract extension the last time and he only signed a 4 because he wanted to have options. And one thing that I don't think has been spoken about a lot about this Trent situation is he is just now going into his prime. So the best years of him as a footballer are going to be seen away from the club that brought him through to this point. That I haven't seen mentioned enough. We've had Trent and we've won stuff with Trent, but he's coming into his prime right now. And he's running off to Madrid. That sticks in my throat a little bit. Corbin said, what do you think the future of Diaz is? Oh, Dan's, excuse me, mate. I read that wrong. What do you think the future of Dan's is? Alone. I think it has to be alone. Much like Stefan Bajcetic this season, I don't think too many people have any doubts about the quality of Jayden Danns. I think everybody believes Jayden Danns will be a fella that will be putting the ball in the back of the net plenty. But he has to show that his body can take the rigours of a full season, playing week in and week out. So for me, alone would be the sensible option there for Jayden Danns, with a view to bringing him back just to make sure that he can get past the back injuries and that he's had, which I imagine are extremely difficult for him to work through. You know, I can only imagine what it's like for him. He's on the cusp of breaking in and being a star, and he has these back injuries, and you know, I just want him to get out there playing. So I would say a year's loan maybe, and then hopefully he has minor injuries or no injuries throughout that year, and then we get to bring him back in fully up to speed and ready to go. Muckrab said Craig Kwanzaa performed well at right back in the final. I'd try him against Palace or Brighton, especially with Bradley coming back from injury. I was very confused when we played, was it the Merseyside Derby? What game was it? I think it was the Merseyside Derby where Arna put Jones at right back. Because much like you, mate, I thought he did all right at right back, Kwanzaa. And to see him not get that game, I was a bit confused by it. But I think it also answers the question of the right back Kwanzaa role. I don't think he's dynamic enough to be a right back. But I do think he did well, like you've mentioned, in the game in question. And certainly gave us another threat in the penalty area with his height. Craig, did you see Sky Sports' interview with the Gimp from Marca today? I haven't. No, I haven't watched any television today whatsoever. I've been just reading all day long, and I tend to only really tune into Sky at 10:30 for back pages tonight, or the later showings of it. So no, I don't. But Marca are nothing but a mouthpiece for Real Madrid. I mean, I think everybody knows that at this point. Did you see Salah's reel about Trent? Yeah, and look, I expect that totally from his fellow players. You know, I would imagine in their position, it's a difficult subject. You know, they're professionals themselves, and you know, Mohamed Salah has moved many times, chasing his dreams around the world. So I expected nothing less than a classy post like that from Mo, and I expect it from many of the other players as well. You know, I think they're probably more pragmatic about these things than fans, because you know we're emotionally invested a lot in particular players, and especially local players in the team. So yeah, look, no problem with what Mo posted. I think it was a respectful post. I do like that Pop World Liverpool put a post out saying "barred" at Trent Alexander-Arnold and pinned it. So he can't go to Pop World now, which is apparently a great spot in Liverpool. Thoughts on young Rio, said Joseph Purvis. Um, Excited, unsure when to expect the breakthrough. I think Lamine Yamal has kind of ruined it for everyone now. You think about, he's 17, so you know, young Rio 16 heading 17. Get out there and do it. But I think you need to protect these younger players. We have a huge talent on our hands. There's no denying that, and I expect him to be a star for the club. But when exactly we get the minutes and we get to see him on the pitch, I'm unsure of. But from what I can understand, he's certainly going to be on the preseason tour this summer, and we'll get to see a bit more of him then. And Arna will, of course, get to continue working with him on the training pitch. Star player said, Craig, I think this should be a banner that stretches across the Cop on Sunday. He who walks away walks alone. Well, there was loads of bits and pieces doing the rounds. And look, if Liverpool's match-going fans have something to say, we know that they'll get their feelings across. I know many people who've been at the matches lately who have heard plenty of shouts telling Trent if he doesn't want to be here to piss off, but yet again, you don't really see that reported much. And if it is reported, it's always an undermining post of those fans. You know, they don't speak for the real fans. Alex Hardy said, other players must feel like this when a fellow employee leaves the job for somewhere else. I can understand their standpoint. I don't necessarily agree fully, but I get it. Yeah, and also, they're their mates. You know, I wouldn't say anything bad about my mate who I'd worked with every single day or played with every single day if he wanted to move on, because he's my mate. You know, I'll have my own thoughts and I'd be disappointed about it, but ultimately, he's your mate, so you're only going to ever wish them the best. Joshua said, Slot better do us a favour and bench Trent for the rest of the season. I'm really, really intrigued by that one. Right, so a load of people have been asking about a vice captain poll, so I am going to do that right now. So let me just get this up. 1 second. Right, so let's put in Salah, Maka. So I'll give you some more shouts for potential other vice captains who you'd like to see. I've got Salah, I've got Maka. I suppose you probably should put Alisson in there because of seniority as well. Would that be fair? So let's try Alisson. And so the reason... Robbo's a great shout, by the way. But with Robbo, I don't think you're going to have longevity because I think he might only be here another season. But I'm just trying to think, is there another one that we could put in there? Trent, Maka. I think it has to be Robbo, doesn't it? The more I think about it, it feels disrespectful if I don't put Robbo in. So let's go with Robbo. And look, feel free to post another name if you think, but the ones we're going to put to the vote are Salah, Maka, Alisson or Robbo. So we'll start that poll and we will come back to it in a little bit. Matt Travis said, "Hey Craig, we're the Fukin champions. Feels great to say. Thoughts on Mbeumo? I think he will cook in our system. Much love, my brother." Yeah, I love him. And very much hope that we do push for a move for him. Brian Mbeumo is a name that started to be talked about a little bit more. United fans of his as well. But yeah, mate, look, I've said it for a long time. I think Brian Mbeumo's a really, really good player. I love the way Thomas Frank gets his teams playing. And I think Mbeumo can tick so many boxes. Premier League proven, coming into the peak of his career. I think he's, 24, 25. Knows where the goal is, knows how to assist, works hard, versatile, can play in multiple positions. There's a lot to like about Brian Mbeumo. So for me, if we were to move on to central attackers, I'd have Mbeumo in the mix for one of the, maybe the Jota role, and then go get your Ekitike or your Benjamin Sesko, sorry, or Isak or somebody else. And we will have a bit actually on Sesko on the late video, but well, you're here now, so I'll tell you now anyway. So his price tag is 80 million euro, but if you don't want to pay the release clause of 80 million euro, apparently there are ways that they will deal with it that could see you pay a little bit more but spread over a longer period. So let's say the release clause is 80 million euro and you had to pay 85 or 90 million euro, but you could do it over 4 or 5 seasons or 4 or 5 installments. So let's wait and see. But on that one, it definitely does look like Benjamin Sesko's leaving Leipzig in the summer. Alex said, you can always have multiple vice captains in case of injuries or if others are being rested, to be fair. Yep, absolutely. And we do have like a leadership group at Liverpool. So there are a group of senior pros that are at the forefront of the talks between, let's say, the management or the coaching staff and the players. So yeah, absolutely. Nothing wrong with having a few people in that group. Suleiman said, the way Trent handled his exit shows Liverpool fans were the last thing on his mind. I've lost all interest in him. I'm kind of relieved it's over to some extent. I'm also intrigued to see how Arne handles it for the rest of the season, Suleiman, and whether Trent is in matchday squads or not. Because if the club are all about protecting him, which they have been, and to be fair, the club have shown, in my opinion, class throughout all of this around Trent. So you often hear me calling out the club on a lot of things, but I think that they have tried their best to protect Trent and look after him during this whole process. But this post, to me, is the club saying a lot without saying a lot. So Divok's leaving on the left, and it said, Divock Origi will leave Liverpool when his contract expires at the end of June. Thank you for an incredible 8 years of service and leaving us with so many special moments. At Divock Origi, Liverpool legend. Now contrast that with when Trent was leaving, which was announced today. Trent Alexander-Arnold has informed Liverpool of his intention to leave the club this summer upon the expiry of his contract. Very different narrative there. So I think the club have done their best to protect Trent in this one, and for that reason, if I'm Arne Slot in the club, I'm taking him out of the firing line and just not having him in the matchday squads for the remaining games. That would be what I would do. I would probably do it out of more of a bitterness, to be honest with you, but you could disguise it as trying to protect him, because I believe wholeheartedly that if he's on the pitch, he's going to come in for a lot of stick from the crowd. Joseph Purvis said, apparently Aaron is very good with young players. At Feyenoord, he played youngsters very often, even in big games. Yes, but the pressure at a club like Liverpool is much, much higher. Now, there was a post put out there by Alex Crook, and I wanted to just touch on it because the Anfield Agenda account posted it, and a lot of people were like, I thought you said that X or Y wasn't coming. I'll explain now. So the post on Anfield Agenda's account said, Victor Gyökeres, Benjamin Sesko and Victor Osimhen are all contenders to lead the line at Anfield, as per Alex Crook. I don't stand over that, but we have to post it because the guy who is the admin on our account, Matt, he does the posting for us and he just culminates the news and what journalists are saying and puts it out there. To the best of my understanding, Victor Gyökeres isn't in the mix to become a Liverpool player, and I don't believe that Victor Osimhen is either, although I wouldn't be as firm on that one. But for me, every time Victor Gyökeres came up in conversation, when I spoke with anybody, gone back as far as David Lynch and many others, it was always that Liverpool don't feel he's proven enough at a high enough league. Because, he's done it at Coventry and he's done it in Sporting Lisbon. Well, Darwin did it in Benfica in that league. So Liverpool, I think, wants somebody from one of the top 5 leagues. And that's why I don't think we'll see Victor Gyökeres. And that was backed up by many people that I spoke to about him. Arsenal could be a destination for him. So I would disagree with Alex Crook on that one. I don't think Liverpool will be in the mix for Victor Gyökeres. Ziri Afik, or Zikri Afik, excuse me, mate, said, as for Ali vice captain for now, but Maka for the future. I love Maka and hope that he stays at Liverpool for many, many years to come because he's such an easy fella to love, isn't he? I'm just making sure I haven't missed that in here, my notes. Oh yeah, Wesley. Let's talk about him for a second. So, caught offside have said that Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool and City are all competing to sign Flamengo right back Wesley. Barcelona's name of the mix as well. So, I believe his agent or his representative was over in the UK for talks recently with a few interested clubs. So, keep an eye on him as a possible option at right back. I don't know how strong Liverpool's interest is there. I honestly don't, but he is certainly a name that's been in the mix quite a bit in recent times. By the way, if you could drop a like on the stream for us as well, that would be absolutely amazing. So thank you so much to everyone that's hit the subscribe button and dropped the like. We're going to stay on for another 20 minutes or so. And if you can, let's try and push that towards 1,000 likes and keep this incredible run of form and growth the channel scene going. The more people that like, the more people that comment, the more the channel gets pushed out there. And of course, the more we can welcome into our family. Peter, how are you, my friend? Said Craig, still really happy about our result. Sorry for saying this in the Liverpool chat as it was against you. Good result for us tonight. Who'll get top 5? And was Palmer right for man of the match yesterday? Honestly, when I watch games, I only watch them through Liverpool eyes, so it probably isn't fair for me to say if Palmer was man of the match or not yesterday, because I always look at these things through Liverpool-centric eyes. You don't need to apologise, mate, for being happy that your team won. You deservedly won yesterday. No arguments for me on that one. I just didn't like getting a guard of honour and then us losing the game. But you deserve the win. So no sour grapes for me in that regard. Okay. That Frimpong thing is interesting, though, isn't it? That he would be keen on a move to Liverpool. That is genuinely a very interesting post. So somebody's talking about Canade posting or something, is it? Mark said he's looking for it. If anybody knows the post or just wants to write in the post, let me know and I'll read it out. And Buemo for Diaz. I don't think Diaz is going anywhere, to be fair. It looks like the club are going to sit down with Luis Diaz and try to extend him, and I think he's earned that right. Diaz has had a very good second half of the season for me, and I don't expect any change on the left side unless something dramatic happens. Right. Fidget, another Chelsea fan. Said, good game, Liverpool. Good luck moving forward. Thank you, man. Appreciate you. It still annoys me, Fidget, how much space Enzo had in that for his goal and nobody tracked him. Ran all the way from midfield without a Liverpool player within 10 yards of him. It was so frustrating to watch. Joshua said, am I wrong for thinking Diaz is too skinny? No, I think it's something he struggled with even as a child. He was called the Noodle or something was his nickname, if I remember correctly, over in Colombia. Oh. I don't know what that means. So Canade's post under the Trent video was 3 love hearts and then the word big and then L. I don't know what to take from that. Big L and 3 love hearts. Does he mean big love? That's all I can imagine he means. Yeah, it has to be big love. That's all I can think of because he's put the love hearts in and said big L. You're not going to put the love hearts in if it's something along the lines of, wrong move or you've done something stupid. So to me, I'm reading that as big love. Or big loss. Yeah, big loss could be another one. Chat saying big loss. That's a fair shout as well, actually. Could be big loss. But, if we just wrote the rest of the word, Ebu, that would have helped us out, bro. L is never used to mean love. Fair enough. I don't know. I guess only Ibrahim Kanade will know what he meant. I think big loss could be a fair shout, though, from the chat. But let's wait and see. Hopefully we don't have Ibu making a similar video. Hopefully he signs a new contract and stays at the club as well. Right, so on the vice captain poll, we're heading towards 1,000 votes. So well done, everyone, vote nice and quickly. Once we get to 1,000 votes, we'll post the result. So the options are next Liverpool vice captain, Salah, Maka, Alisson or Robbo. So vote away. And again, while you guys are voting on that, just a reminder, our Cork show is officially gone on sale. We're going to be at Cypress Avenue, Cork, 8th of August, the day before the Community Shield. So if you want to come and see us, it is a 7 p.m. doors open at probably an 8 p.m. show start, probably finish up at about 10:30. Tickets are on sale now, priced at 20 quid. You can get them from the QR code on the screen or the link that's pinned to the top of the chat has the links to all of our shows on there that we're doing in Liverpool and in Cork. Right, let's check the poll. 40 votes needed to get to 1,000, so do keep voting away. What's this one? Trent went from Gerrard 2.0 to Own 2.0, said Inferno Gaming. Yep, well, I was unsure how everybody was going to feel about it, but I think that the poll result kind of gives us a very clear indication of what way most people are feeling about it, in that they're feeling annoyed and pissed off by Trent's actions. Joseph said, hey Craig, I'd love to see Rio get some minutes against Arsenal and skin Partey. No, I want us to beat Arsenal. That's a game I think we have to take 100% seriously. Don't care about the last two after that, but this game against Arsenal fans need to be shown that we're the better side, and hopefully they're going to get dumped out on Wednesday, and then we'll see what happens on Sunday. By the way, I am going to stream Wednesday night, but we're going to come on as always 8:45. So I'm hoping that the tie is either fully settled at that point and that PSG have scored a couple of early goals, but I'm gambling that we're going to still have enough people in the chat to make the stream interesting. So we will be streaming on Wednesday when the Arsenal game is on. We'll let you watch the first half and then we'll be on live. Right, so we've had over 1,000 votes, and Maka with 51% is the main option that you guys would go for with regards to vice captain. Mohamed Salah second on that list. Aryan said, Craig, thoughts on Rodrigo? I think he's a cracking footballer. One that Liverpool looked at before he went to Real Madrid. Michael Edwards, big fan of. Looks like he could be departing Madrid this summer. Don't know if Liverpool still have an interest or not, though. But at €100 million, which is about £85 million, I think it's probably fair value for the quality of player that he is. In all honesty, it'll be interesting to see where he does end up. The detective said, not surprised with Trent. Vanderson from Monaco is a replacement right back. Frimpong won't manage as a right back in a back four. He's used to playing wing back. He might be useful further forward. That's why I was suggesting that he could be interesting cover, whereas he could play in games where maybe we want a more advanced right back, or if Bradley's injured, and he could also maybe then cover for Salah, potentially on the right side of attack. Craig, will you watch the game in the background? The Arsenal game? Yeah, I'll probably have it on the TV, mate. I will. I'll probably have it on. Depends what way it is at half time. Like if, let's say, PSG go 2-0 up and it's 3-0 on aggregate, I probably won't bother turning it on the second half. But if it's in any way close, yeah, I'll probably keep an eye on it. Rob said, I'd rather watch you than Arsenal on Wednesday. I love that, mate. Thank you, Rob. Look, it's just an interesting one because for me, that'll be the end of their season then. They get knocked out with that. It's another year for Arteta without a trophy, and I'm interested to see how Arsenal fans react to that, considering, this was going to be their big year, wasn't it? They were going to win a Premier League this year, and then when that fell by the wayside, it was the Champions League push. So let's wait and see what happens in Paris. Craig, have you seen Cherky Link saying he wants to join Liverpool? I've seen lots of stuff saying that he's linked with us, all right, but nothing directly I've seen from him. But to be honest, today I've just spent the whole day, Joseph, reading up about the Trent situation. Muckrab said AFCON is in 2.5 years, right? It's in January, the best of my understanding. Yeah, I think the next AFCON's coming up in January. If I'm not mistaken, Muckrab, and if I am, apologies, but I think it's coming up January. Colin said, I hope they get their asses handed to them. Mark said, yes, it's in January. Arsenal fans are arrogant, said Haris. They are, but I don't know where they get it from. Because it's not earned. You get to have arrogance if you're like a Prince Nassim Hamed who goes in there and wins, or you get to have arrogance if you win Premier League and European Cups. You don't get to have arrogance finishing second all the time. Some of them are already posting to say that the next Ronaldo-Messi debate is going to be between Yamal and Saka. 6 goals in the Premier League this season, by the way, for Saka. I know he's had injuries, but trying to put him on the same level as Yamal is just hilarious. Yamal is, without doubt, going to be a superstar. And Saka is a brilliant, brilliant player. And my God, he'd probably get into most teams in Europe. I'm not trying to deny that, but that's fanciful, to say the least, to put him in that category. Kelly, you're always so kind. Evening, young Craig. When Irish eyes are smiling, God, you cheer me up. No end. Thank you so much, Kelly. I appreciate that. Coming on here and chatting with all of you guys and girls as well helps me vent at times, Kelly, and get a few bits and pieces off my chest. So look, ladies and gents, we're gonna say goodnight. I will go and record this news video now because we haven't had much of a chance to talk about transfers tonight. But I'm gonna record a video speaking about Sesko, speaking about Wesley, speaking about Angelo Stiller, a bit about Nico Williams as well. And I'll probably throw in the Frimpong stuff as well. So keep an eye out for that one. It'll be out before 11 o'clock. And I will see you guys tomorrow, 4:30 for the news video. And then, of course, 8:45 tomorrow night. Thank you so much to everyone that's got tickets already to our Liverpool shows. Hope to see you guys in Cork as well. And Yeah, just appreciate your support. Thank you. What's this? Nevlin said, analyze Trent's statement. 86% AI used 2 sites. Wow. Wow. That's shocking if that's the case, my man. Jesus. Wow. Right. Much love, my friends. Thank you all for dropping in. Appreciate you as always. And we'll talk soon.